credit Wofford. I thought, some big time plays down the stretch. Winning plays, made the play on the free throw rebound. We had the rebound, and they came and took it out of our hands. Some tough shot making, but I told the guys I thought the first half was that's as hard as we played defensively all year. And that was the level of competitiveness, concentration, attention to detail. If we had been able to finish possessions, we gave up some offensive rebounds, we would have held them below 20 points in the first half, and that's a really good offensive team. Second half, I thought, coming right out, they got 9 points first three possessions. Baseline drive, we don't level it off. We foul and give them an and-one, and back-to-back possession we get loose in transition, and they scored 46 in the second half, and everybody's going to look at that game and go, well, we lost because of our free throws. I'm going to look at that game and be like, we lost because we couldn't sustain our defensive focus and intensity for the entire 40 minutes at the level that it needs to be sustained at. And so that's what I'll lose sleep over, not the free throws. I mean, those guys, no one's missing on purpose. I know I said on the radio I'm going to get a lot of emails about our free throw shooting, but I would say that, the guys are working on it. They spend a ton of time. We were 13 for 14 against, Illinois State. Just, one of those nights, we missed 15, plus I think at least one, maybe two 1-on-1s, so 16 or 17 free throws we left on the table. But end of the day, our defense, if it held the way it did the first half, we walk out of here with a 10-point win, and the free throws are a backstory. But because the defense wasn't where it needed to be, it puts pressure on your defense when you miss free throws. We miss any shots, But your defense has to be strong enough to stand up to it, and we weren't tonight. So credit them. We got a lot of work to do.
So when you look at the game, like the beginning of the second half is kind of where the game was lost?
Yeah, I mean, just the beginning of the second half, I think there was, in the first half we did a great job. They run a ton of, wide pin downs, and we were really blowing them up and being physical. And when they did get you on the curl, we were, switching in, and Robbie was taking the curl, and we were switching back to the big. And then the second half, and maybe it's fatigue. We're obviously having to play guys a lot of minutes. I don't know. But we weren't quite as good getting through those. They beat us on curls. We weren't veering it. They got some layups at the front of the rim on those plays on multiple times in the second half, multiple times. But certainly the second half, when you come out, you give up 9 points in three possessions. I mean, that's insane, particularly, like I said, we had really been our half-court defense and our transition defense. First half was elite, and showed that we're capable of doing it. It's just, second half, really our transition defense and our half-court defense weren't up to snuff. I mean, again, they made some tough shots. There was some where we really guarded well, and they made it against high contest, good defense. I got back to watch the film to watch each possession, but there was way too many defensive breakdowns. Although we were playing hard, I think there's a difference in playing with great effort and marrying the effort with the concentration. I think concentration, maybe our physicality and concentration waned, and when those things go against a good offensive team, hard to win unless you're going to be able to match offensively. And again, we executed pretty well offensively, but we couldn't cash in, obviously.
Of all those shots they made at the end of the shot clock, did you feel like you were defending well at the end of the clock on a lot of those, if you can?
Yeah, I mean, off memory, probably, there was a lot of good ones defensively that they just made shots over the top of us. And, the one that bounced around there late with Filowich. And, I mean, I can remember a few off my head where I'm like, that's pretty good defense. Tough mid. Lorenz made a three in the first half that I think banked in. I mean, like you can't defend any better than that. And that's, but at the end of the day, what I remember most is how many possessions that we had breakdowns and gave up, curls to rim, miss a switch, got posted, gave up post layup. We had some really bonehead fouls, on the end of the clock. Isaiah jumps in a shot fake. He's never blocked a shot in his career, but 1 second left, we jump, and he's trying to make a play, but we got to be disciplined enough to stay down and make the guy miss. We're not going to block his shot. I mean, at 5'9", you're not blocking somebody's shot. So everybody should stay down. And so just the discipline wasn't as good second half. The the discipline of scheme wasn't as good in the second half. The try factor was there, but like we got to make that loose ball play late on the free throw. It bounces out. We have it in our hands. They come in and take it out of our hands, and that gave them 20 more seconds. Then they scored at the end of the clock on that one as well. I mean, that's a huge play in that game. You got to winning players make the winning teams make those plays. Winning teams make those plays. We didn't make them. Again, not that we're not trying. We're trying, but winning teams, that's the difference. The margins are small in this deal when you're playing good teams and you're playing high-level competition. It's not like the margins are huge. We're too beat up to have great margins anyway. It was going to be the small details. We got to grind stuff out. We got to make those kind of plays down the stretch of a game. Have to.
Coach, you wave the magic wand. I mean, clearly you can point to just defense in general as something you'd like to fix right here, right now, but perhaps there's something more specific. Is it defensive rebounding, offensive, perimeter defending? What's that one thing that you think would be the most impactful that you could change?
Most impactful for us would be I think to maintain our physicality throughout a possession, be more disruptive. We don't turn people over. We turned them over 4 times, and 3 of those were in 1 4-minute window in the first half. We were having to defend every shot. They're getting a shot every possession. That's hard. Like when you're not. It also hurts your transition when you can't turn people over. So being able to disrupt with discipline would probably be the number one thing at the time of this. 3-point shooting defense is up there. I mean, that would be probably 1-2 for us in terms of solving defensive woes. Today, again, our 3-point defense was okay, but again, I think we talked about this in the news. Like, if fans look at it and it's if they go 6 for 21, it was good 3-point defense. If they go 12 for 21, it's bad. But the shots could all be the same. It's just if they go in or don't, and some of that is variable. I thought tonight our perimeter defense was okay. It was more they beat us with twos. I mean they were 23 for 37 on twos. And some of those were first half. I don't know what it finished second half. First half they were 6 for 7 on mid-range jumpers. And you got to credit them. That's hard to do. And they were 6. I don't know what they finished the game at, but I know at one point 10 Tripp had 6 made mids himself in the game. Which again is their shot making was good, but again it's the curls and the layups where we're supposed to veer them or not being physical enough to fight those or getting loose in transition back to back and giving up 3-point plays. Like if you're not offensively, I've been really lucky in my career. I think. I want to say at my 3 years in Indiana State, I don't think we finished outside the top, maybe 1 year outside the top 10 in the country in free throw percentage. We were like second in the country last year. We shot like 81%. When you have that, it gives you, you win this game by, if you shoot 80% from the line, you win this game going away. But when you don't, the pressure is on your defense to make sure you can hold the fort. And one thing, defense in that area, those aspects are controllable. Free throw shooting is like 3-point shooting. It's no one's going up there missing on purpose. Like they're trying to make them. They're working to make them. Gibson's one of the best free throw shooters in the country and one of the best in school history. Goes up, misses 2. He's definitely trying to make them. Swope, was crushed, but he's up there. He kind of willed us back in there late. I mean, we don't get a chance without him. So, there's no blame there. That you focus on the things you can control. We got to be so much better with our physicality, our ability to guard the 3, and then our discipline to the details of the game. Like the game is the details. And, we were very attuned to the details in the first half. I thought effort and concentration was through the roof. Physicality was really good. Second half, I would say those things were not nearly good enough. And again, if they were, you walk out of here with a 71-60 victory and everybody's going, that's a great win. And the free throws are a backstory. They're not, what people are pinning it on because that's really not what it was.
I know the defense is the bigger thing today, but it did seem there from like the 15-minute mark to the 5-minute mark of the second half. The offense was really just kind of you had to grind for every single shot attempt you were getting, and it seemed like maybe the lack of perimeter shooting might have been more apparent tonight than it had been before in this season so far.
Yeah, we got to find a way to manipulate and score. I mean, I think they did a good job. I mean, we obviously got guys out there that are not huge 3-point threats, and that makes offense harder. But I would flip it on this and say, we scored 71. I don't know how many possessions there were in the game. You guys probably know, but it was probably close to a point. I bet it was better than a point of possession. 61. So 71 points in 61 possessions. And if you look at 16 missed free throws, it could have been, what I mean? So yes, yes, it was more of a grind, but we felt like we were getting the ball where we wanted to too. We got some Robbie and some high pick and rolls with their guard and pick and rolls, putting Kalu, trying to give us the right amount of spacing, and try to manipulate spacing. It's offense is always more complicated when you have guys. It's always better when you have 5 guys who can shoot, of course, because then defenses are stretched and then the ball gets kicked and guys are shooting wide open threes. And we had some wide open ones we turned down that actually I would have liked to see guys take. I thought we cut ourselves out of some threes. That maybe we had a 3 and we started cutting where maybe we just should have stayed, and because we were driving it anyway. Now we're just cutting into the teeth of a collapsed defense. It's a crowded house, and where we just stayed. And those paint the great ones, the ones we want to shoot. That was honestly, I was proud of Kobe for shooting that one end of the first half. Like that's a great play. Like we had the ball to Rob in the seam. He's coming downhill. Kalu, we had told Kalu to cut the corner. He cut the corner. Try to get a layup. Kobe was wide open. They helped off him, and Kobe stuck down. And we gotta take those with confidence. And all those guys got to take those with confidence and feel like paint the great that they can let those things fly. But the offense, like there's things in a season you got to work through, and there's things in season you got to work around. Like there's a difference. Some things you got to be able to work through them. Some things you just got to work around the issue. The shooting, the offensive stuff, that's something we just got to work through. We got to find a way to put our guys in position. But I won't, yes, they made us grind, but I would say, even if we shoot, average free throws, we would walk out here with 80 points and 61 possessions, and that's plenty. Even 71 should be enough in a game like that to get yourself across the finish line. Disappointed that we weren't able to, but certainly we got to continue to find ways to leverage the guys who they're playing off, and those guys, because you can still be very effective. Like if they're not guarding you. There's a lot of ways to be uber effective when you're not being guarded, and those guys they're doing that to Kobe and Kalu. They gotta be very And I thought what I want to make sure our bench guys. I thought Dylan stuck a 3 there in the corner. He was confident, made that one. I thought our bench gave us good minutes. Killian, Dylan, and Amari all played. I thought well in a difficult game for them.
Concerns about Kellen's hip?
No, not really. I mean, I think he's obviously the hip's been a thing. We're working to get the cramping thing figured out. It just juggling a lot of stuff. I think for right now for him just being shut down for the time here helps the hip heal. Maybe helps if we can find some clarity on what we're dealing with. So from the cramping standpoint, but the hip is I think is close to healthy, but just trying to make sure it's 100% before he comes back, and then he's obviously after Sunday his body's got to recover from that too. That's always a scary deal. So we're working to get solutions, but we'll see.
With him being iffy, kind of like on a game-to-game basis. Are you, the way the rotation went tonight, and the bench minutes, are you good with that as kind of an ongoing?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta find ways to get a little more. But yeah, I mean that 8 right there. I mean, I think Max and Killian, you could kind of go either way with those guys. AJ was out for a month. He had his first practice back yesterday. So AJ, as he kind of can get some practices under him, will maybe work himself back into competing for time. I don't know, but I thought Killian played really well today. He got 4 rebounds in 7 minutes. I thought Killian did a really good job. Took a 3, got a good look at it. He can shoot. He's smart, knows what's going on. Hard to play him and Robbie together because defensively, unless we're going to play zone. But yeah, I'm fine with the rotation. I thought Dylan for just a couple practices and still I thought he was fine. I thought Amari played really hard and competed, and Amari gave us good minutes. Those guys are kind of learning on the fly, and like I said, it's great for them. It's not great for me, but it's great for them that they're getting the opportunity to play and learn in these conditions. And where if we have the other guys, they're probably not playing. So this is a really good opportunity for these young guys to get in there, figure it out, mix it up, and they all got those guys got better tonight. I think Killian, I put him in that same group of guys. So KT, we'll see. I mean, it is game to game, and we'll see if like I said. But he's nobody wants to play more than him. I can assure you that nobody wants to be out there more. He loves to play as much as anybody, cares about as much as anybody.
Does Kalu's struggles at the line have to affect how you think about using him in late game situations?
It does. It's a it's a trade-off. I think if you're up, he brings a lot of value rebounding and defensively, obviously, which is why he plays, and then his free throw shooting historically, it is not, been Mark Price from the line in his career, but he's been, a 50% or slightly above shooter. I think this year he's in the 30s. So and again, his practice, he makes them. When you're up, I think it would be more of a thought process, because because of what, they're not gonna. Maybe they would. Maybe they. And I think at some level, when they got the ball at the front of the rim, they're just fouling him to foul him and send him to the line because as opposed to him making a layup, it was better just to put a line and let him make try to make 2 free throws, but. His value there, and as the other guys, get better, then maybe maybe that's something they play more. But Kalu is in the gym, he's working, he's trying to get better at it, and it's something, like I said, he's well aware of. It's been something we've worked on going back into the summer. I think a little bit of it, based on what his numbers in practice are, and his numbers when he's shooting free throws every day. He's got to kind of get through from a mental block standpoint of like going to the line in the game with the lights on and making them, and I think he's you have hope he can do it, but certainly if we're up, yeah, I mean you couldn't play him in a scenario where you're up and people are going to be fouling you late game.
When things aren't going well for you, do you change anything about the way you do things with the coaches? Do you come in earlier, stay later? Do you have more meetings, or is this just all stuff that needs to be worked out on the practice?
No, I mean, anytime you're struggling, I mean, you always are, affects every area of your life. You don't sleep as well, you don't eat as much, which is good for me. You're spending more time with the staff. You're not like working harder. You're just thinking about all the time and ways to fix it. Ways how do we make it better? How do we help these guys? What can we do to reach them? Why is it not? Why are we struggling? How can I help? Right? And you want all the players to look inwards, and you do as a coach. I mean, it's funny because I think it's like fans or whatever, but like. No one cares more than us, the people in that locker room that live it every day. And coaching is your life. You live and die with these wins and these losses, and that's what you sign up for, and all the whatever criticism and praise and all the different stuff is that's a part of the deal when you sign up for it. But I think from our standpoint as a staff, we're everybody's trying to really be thoughtful. When you're rolling, it's a little bit, everybody's happier. It's the same. You're working the same amount of hours, but it's a much happier existence, than it is when you're scuffling. And we're certainly scuffling. There's no question about that. We got to find it defensively. We got to continue to get better offensively. But I think down the line of issues for us is the offensive end. Like I said, we're in a game like that, 61 possessions, what you guys said, 61 possessions, score 71 points, like that's plenty to win. First half, we gave up 28 points on 30 possessions. That's with all the second chance opportunities. Our half court defense, like I said, was clean enough could have been 16 points at half, 18 points at half. Can we sustain that? Can we sustain the details? You got to build competitive stamina. You build competitive stamina in practice. And the competitive stamina is the ability to play with maximum effort and maximum concentration. And that's what it takes to beat really good teams. You got to do it. You got to be able to do it for 40 minutes. And, we got to build that. We haven't been able to, in practice, develop that level of competitive stamina, and so we you go back to work, but yeah, eating, sleeping, all that stuff is much harder to come by when you're scuffling, for sure.
With the 3-point shooters you have, you get down the last possession, you got what, 3 seconds, and you got 3-point shooters, and you got to target. You got to like your, not like the chances, but those are a decent opportunity there at the end.
Yeah. We ran a play. We were trying to throw it to Rob and play off that, and it got deflected, but actually wound up that I didn't think he realized he was open, and it was kind of trying to find where his feet were. It really wasn't for Robbie to shoot it, but the way the play worked out, it was. But yeah, we feel like, certainly with Gibb and Isaiah, Robbie, we have 3, guys that can really stretch the floor and make threes at a high level, and then we've got other guys that, if they take right shots, they can make threes as well. For them, it's more of like, what kind of threes are they getting? That's for them, it's more of like the type of threes. But yeah, you like your chances when you got those guys. And Robbie's super clutch. He's made a ton of big threes in his career, and that they got a piece of that one. If they didn't, if he was able to get a clean look, I have all the confidence in the world it would have gone in, and had it worked to play the way we thought. Then we had confidence that Gibb or Swope would have made it as well. But credit Wofford for making the play there. They made free throws, down the stretch, some enough to keep their nose in front, and and Swope, he got fouled in that one, and everybody, felt like, and he did too. He's going to make all 3, but again, that had nothing to do with, why we came up short. That's 90% of the reason we came up short was you can find it on the defensive end of the floor, and until that cleans up to the level it needs to be, our offense is not good enough. We're just not dynamic enough offensively to particularly like, I think Kellen's ability to get downhill and do stuff. Without him, and if that's the way it's going to be, then we're not dynamic enough offensively to just rely on that. We got to be grittier and more physical and tough and detailed defensively, because that's where like guys like Kobe, guys like Kalu, they got to hang their hat, because that's really what they are. They have to be that. And then you can deal with a guy who's maybe not as good, defensively. They're scoring 20, 25 a night, but but that's where we got to hang our hat, and we I don't know, it's the same thing. If you're rolling, you got to come in and go to work and get better, and prepare as well as you can for the next game. If you're struggling like we are, the only way to flip it is to come in, get to work, get better, prepare as well as you can, and be as ready as you can for your next opportunity. You just got to stay. You got to stay in it and keep working. I think the thing I want to build here, from a programmatical standpoint, is a program that can endure. You got to be able to handle success, handle failure. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, and sometimes in life, you struggle and you get knocked down. You got to pick yourself off the mat, and get up and move forward. And this group's going to write its own story. We got a lot of chapters left. I know a lot of people maybe don't feel that, but I haven't given up on them at all. We're going to get to work, and we're going to do everything we can to figure it out as a group. And sometimes you got to go through stuff to become a team, and every team becomes a team at different times. It's not cookie cutter. Some teams do it early, some teams do it in the middle of the year, some teams do it late, some teams never do it. But I have faith. We're gonna get better. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.